Hey now.
Hey now.
I'm Richard Cascioli.
I'm Faleena Hopkins, and we were just laughing about what topic we're going to talk about because we don't know. And I was thinking, and Richard was going to maybe offer one up, but then I said, I got this, and it all started off with a smile.
Exactly. I like it.
Say what? All right. So it's my turn for a topic, ladies and gentlemen. You can watch his reaction. Richard?
Yes.
When was the first time you got your heart truly crushed? And how did you deal with it?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Yes. Yes. I know I'm with a girly question. However,
so
I'm also a romance author and I do care about the love stuff. So I have to know.
Truly crushed. Now,
I mean, fucking obliterated.
Okay. Well,
we just went to explicit with the swearing. So we do swear on this podcast.
All right. Well, obliterated.
Okay.
I want to tell you a story then. Okay.
You don't have to say the name.
No, I won't.
Change the name if you want. Yeah, probably best to.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do names.
Well, give her a name.
I don't.
Obliterated number 1.
Yeah, we don't even need to go there and give it a name. But how do I do this without, because I don't obviously want her to see this podcast and to know that she.
You know what? Honestly, it's part of a history thing. You have to sit there. You have to go. You know what? Oh, I was at a restaurant and the guy was my very, very first French kiss. He came and sat down at my table and I told him as an adult, I said, by the way, you were my very first French kiss. And he's like, what? I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, I would want you to know.
That's a little different than getting your heart ripped out. Kicked down the street in the mud, the dirt, then walked then ran over by a couple of cars and all that shit. All right. Well, I'll just put it out there. Okay. So about, I want to say, several times, and then, anyway. All right. So this was probably, I would have to say about.
Oh gosh. You know what? I just looked down and on the floor is a wood heart. Do you see the wood? The heart? That's to your hardwood floor.
Right on. Nice.
Yeah. And not on purpose. It's one of the part of the wood.
All right. So I would say about 10 years ago, I was interesting. Yeah. I met this woman and interestingly enough, she kind of courted me, kind of followed me around and came after me. I had no idea that she liked me. And then she told me and I found out and I was very attracted to her as well. But I was in a place in my life where I was actually kind of doing a hiatus from relationships. I was really working on myself, taking care of myself. And that was over a year of doing that. And then this kind of popped into my lap and I just thought, okay, well, maybe this is something I should explore, which I did. Mm-hmm. And I really was attracted to this woman, and we got in a serious relationship. And then come to find out, she was living with someone, which she didn't tell me that.
Oh, she just left that out?
Yeah. So one day.
So they always say it's guys cheat. It's like, I know so many guys who've been having this with girls. Where they just with women, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was, that. And
she was living with someone.
Literally living with someone. Yeah. And that, although it did hurt and it devastated me when I found out.
Yeah.
But I didn't walk away either. So like for me.
You kept dating her?
Oh, yeah. Which.
I love the way you said, oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, which, goes back to like your self-worth, like where was my self-worth at that time where I would have allowed that to happen and then continued in a relationship and not say, hey, you know what, call me when you're not in a relationship. Furthermore, call me when you've been out of a relationship for a year and you've done the work to heal yourself, because people rebound and I don't want that either. So I stayed in it.
And she came after you.
Yeah.
And she had somebody that she was going
into.
Why do you think
this was not good. This was not good. Not good for me. And I stuck with it. And then down the road a little bit, she eventually moved out of that guy's house. I helped with finding a new house, renovating a new house for her. And
you helped renovate a house for her?
No, I renovated.
You renovated the house.
The entire house. Yeah.
Okay.
And
we're about to have a guest star, I think. Oh wait.
Yeah. Maybe not. Oh, hey now. So that everything was pretty much devastating. So to add insult to injury, down the road, once she moved out and I renovated her house, got her settled into where she needed to be, and everything was great. I bought us a house. And
wait a minute. So she left that guy. You're with her now.
Yeah. Now we're together.
Okay, you're together. Okay.
Now we're together. She's not with him. And I just thought, okay. And she told me it was just the wrong guy, the wrong choice, whatever. Sure. I blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And if I told you some of
it is the blah, blah, blahs though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I have a saying, or there's a saying out there. I don't really want to coin it, but when you take the me out of blame, what do you get? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So it's like,
I have never heard that.
Yeah. So are you blaming? Who are you blaming? And I'm the common denominator. I allowed all this to happen. So I really, what am I going to do or say about it? I mean, of course I could have walked away, but I think again, my self-worth, where my self-worth was, I stayed in it and I went after this. So long story short, about a year down the road, once she was out of that relationship, about a year and a half, I bought us a house. I renovated that house by myself for us. And you're going to love this.
When you say by yourself, you mean no builders helping you?
No, I had my crew.
Okay.
My subcontractors help, but I was doing the majority of.
I understand. I understand. You were working it.
Yeah, I'm more of a.
You didn't hire somebody else to do it.
No. I'm a general contractor, and I've been a contractor all my life. So anyway, so then you're going to love this. So then I buy us this house, right? And she says to me, okay, well, and then I surprise her. I go to work and I put in an envelope, the MLS sheet from the house. And she opens it up with a card. And I was like, surprised. She goes, oh my God, what is this? I said, well, I bought us a house, and
what?
I want you to marry me, so. Yeah.
And also you didn't take her to the house first to make sure she liked the house.
No.
Well,
but I knew what she liked.
Oh, you knew what she liked, of course.
And it was, at a time
amazing.
We live in California. It was a time where it was very difficult to find houses. And when you did, there was like 100 bids on it. And so she loved it. Everything was great. She didn't say anything at the time, but then I said, okay, well, we're going to get married. Let's, we're going to move into the house. And the first thing she said was, well, are you going to put me on the deed? And I said, well, okay, let's talk about that. I said, here's the thing. I mean, I just renovated your house for you and your mother. It was a duplex. And if you want to do that, I'm more than happy doing that. I said, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I said, you put me on the deed of your house and I'll put you on the deed of the house that I just bought for us. Keep in mind, the house that I bought was double what the house she had in value.
Okay.
Which that's here or there. That's not why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
It's the principle of it.
Yeah.
So when I said that to her, she said,
also, you bought the house. You own the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would she need to be on she has a house like you could do. Why do you need to do that first before you get married or say when we get married, are we both going to be on the deeds of both of our houses? That would have been, that's called marriage. The sane partnership thing to do. Yeah. You get to do marriage how you want.
Let's call it the unnarcissistic thing to do. But then she hits me with, and wait, you're going to love this. So then she hits me with, well, my house has got nothing to do with you. I go, nothing to do with me. I said, you're going to be my wife. I said, we're getting married. I said, and you asked to be on my deed. I didn't even ask to be on your deed. I was going to marry you and move you into my house, and we'd be husband and wife and move and down the road buy another house, a bigger house, have children, whatever.
And
I said,
you probably would have had her on the deed. Because
of course I would.
You're married. I mean, of course you do.
Of course
But
I
that
would.
she wants it beforehand is a little
But my
weird.
point is, I never once even said to her, was even thinking that. I was saying, you keep that for you and your mother.
Wow.
And then I even said to her, well, you know, if we're going to do this and move into my house, I said, your mother lives in one half. Whatever you can get for the other half you're renting out, I said, that money should probably come towards us and our family to start our family. And she goes, oh, no, that money's mine. So now I'm starting to kind of think, wait, something's not right here. Like this is not right. And eventually I said, okay, well, I think we should probably go to therapy, speak to a professional about this maybe, and see what the hang up is or what you feel is the block. And we went to therapy, and she sat there with her arms crossed, pillow, and wouldn't even talk, acquiesce, wouldn't budge. If I'm not on the deed, I'm not going to marry you. All that. I said, wow, this is really crazy.
That is a little weird.
So we went to therapy for quite a few months. I paid for it, therapy as well. She didn't even kick in. And then we go out to the car one night, and because of working and the stress of dealing with all of this, not knowing what was going to happen, really, I'm finishing up the renovations, and I unfortunately got a hernia through, the stress and working. So I've got a hernia. I'm in therapy. I can hardly even talk. I'm in so much freaking pain. I go out to the car, and we're talking, and she just wouldn't budge. And this was after months and months and months of therapy. More than 6 months of therapy. So she just wasn't budging.
There's no therapy there.
No.
There's just her sitting there like this for months and months and months that you're paying.
Yeah. So then finally she says to me,
I don't mean to mash that in a little bit. Sorry.
No, but
I was just clarifying, and then it sounded terrible as I said it.
It's a little embarrassing to even really.
But this is why we're
say
obliterated. You have to know that you put it out.
This was obliterated. So
yeah.
Then I went out to the car with her.
I don't think there's anything that needs to be embarrassing about you trying to do therapy and talk it out with a person you plan on spending the rest of your life with. Because a lot of people don't go and try and work it out. They just instead start hating each other, don't talk to each other, cheat on each other, and then sometimes even kill each other. And let's not even talk about that. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing wrong with going, you know what? Let's talk about this.
We then go out to the
getting
car.
An abbreviated version here.
Yeah, we go out to the car. It's pitch dark in the parking lot. She gets in her car. She's already in the car. Car started, like, ready to go. I go over to the door, and I'm in so much pain because of the hernia. I kneel down, and I'm like, is there any way we could work this out? Like, I'm in love. I was so in love with her. And I could tell that it wasn't, and she basically said no, so I just very gently said, okay, well, if this is the way it's going to be, and you don't want to move forward, I said, well, then, I would like the ring back. And she goes, I knew it. That's all you wanted was the ring back. I'm like, wow, really? That's what you're taking from this? So I said, well, obviously there's no getting through. So then I turned to her and said, okay. So she handed me the ring. I said, okay, can you pop the trunk so I can get my bowling ball out of the back as well? And I grabbed my bowling ball and
with a hernia. You're like, I got the lightest object and the heaviest object I could possibly have right now.
Yeah. And I,
as far as normal
huddled
things you
over to
carry
my
around.
car, and I was a
Round
mess.
things.
I was devastated. I was a mess. So then, because I was so devastated, I called my realtor and told her to sell the house. I only owned the house for 4 months. I renovated the whole house, put a guest house in the back.
For the mom?
No. She wanted her mother to move in with us. She had 2 dogs that I was highly allergic to. And I said, well, I'll build a guest house for the dogs. And I did. I built a full-on guest house for the dogs. Laundry room, bathroom, kitchen, the whole. And I said,
wait a minute. I'm sorry. Do dogs do laundry? Or is
no,
but over this now?
No, but here's
the dog. You go in, the dogs are on their hind legs, and they're like, "Hey, we're out of Downy."
But here was the thing. This was my thinking because I was so allergic.
One's chopping chives.
Yeah. I thought to myself, well, how great would this be if we had a guest house, right? That we could watch TV and hang out with the dogs in there. And then when we went into the main house to bed, the main house would be dander free, dog free, and clean. So at least I could sleep and not be, all messed up and congested. I've had allergies all my life, and I had to go to, the allergist. They do all the shots. You get irritated. It was a nightmare. I used to run away, hide in the woods when I was a kid. It was torture, and I didn't want to go through that again. So I pleaded with her, and to no avail. So then I call my realtor, and my realtor says, "You're insane for like wanting to sell this house right now." I said, "It's a high market. Don't worry about it." She goes, "You're going to lose money." I said, "I don't really care." And I didn't lose money because then I bought this where I live now as a result. But when you ask that question, man, that hits me to the core, because after I sold the house, I moved into an apartment, which was going backwards for me. And that devastated me. Not only did it devastate me to go backwards, I lived out of my box. I didn't even unpack. I lived out of my boxes for months and months and months. And I would get up, I would go to work. And then after work, I would sit in my car for an hour or two and stare out the window, no radio, no nothing. And I was like a zombie. And then I would come home, and there was one point I remember, like when you say what relationship obliterated you, I remember sitting in my apartment, I'm living out of my cardboard boxes. I'm sitting in my chair. I'm watching rerun episodes, not watching, it was just in the background, of Law and Order.
Which is definitely an uplifting show.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, what would it matter if like I wasn't around?
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
But oh God, I couldn't believe how I allowed my heart to get so invested in someone and then get it so ripped out, just with no regard for anything I did. Like I bent over backwards to make, her and her mother comfortable and her comfortable. And she lost her dad. She didn't lose her dad. Her dad left when she was like 9. And of course, me, the white knight in shining armor, thought, well, I'm going to go in there and rescue this girl. Our first Christmas, I literally spent about $1,500 on her, wrapped all these presents, had the biggest tree I could get into my apartment so that she would, and I was trying to make up for all the lost time. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now through, all of the work I've done on myself, recovery and therapy, and I see that was very unhealthy. And it was me trying to, again, be the white knight in shining armor and make this wonderful life for her that she missed out on. But you can't make up for that. And by doing that, I thought, well, if I do all this, renovate her house, do this, buy us a house, renovate the house, build a house for the dog, she would love me. Like she would love me more.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized in life is that no matter what you do, you can't make somebody love you. You can't do to make it. They have to come to the table 100%, and you have to come to the table 100%. And that's how it works. There's a saying out there, and I know you probably know this, like people look for their other half. Oh, I can't wait till I meet my other half. Well, what does that say about you then? What, you're only half? You're only half full?
So you're offering somebody half?
Right.
Rather than all.
I want to come to the table 100%.
And then they're 100%, and then you're going through life together. That's how I feel as well.
And then
it's a modern thought.
Well, and then like I had this saying also, is that like, two hearts are better than one, 2 heads are better than one, 2 wallets are better than one. And if you're on the same page and you're really partners, like you actually sign up to say, hey, we're going to do this, and everything goes into the till and whatever. And it's not just about financial, but it's emotional, spiritual, financial, physical, everything. Like you got to be on the same page about everything with one another. And there can't be any hangups or, lack thereofs, or you're holding back.
Well, there can be hangups. Just disagree. But you have to be willing to overcome them. Or you have to be able, or they can be matched. Because I know a lot of people who just have foundational beliefs in life or character traits. They work well together. Because you're going to have some hangups. Everybody's going to have some hangups. But how do you handle them, and that they don't block the two of you from being happy and merging into your
what you're saying,
togetherness,
right?
Together life, your friends.
Everybody's got hangups, right? And everybody brings hangups to the table. But the point is, are you willing to work through them with your partner?
That's what I mean. So have some, but work through them.
And that's difficult. It's very difficult.
Yes.
I still have things that I'm working on, with myself. Like I'm a work in progress. We're all a work in progress. And if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to look at yourself every day, and why am I reacting to this? Or why am I thinking this? Or why do I get upset at this? Or why am I crying at this? And you really look at that, you journal about it, you meditate about it, you do your work. Stay in your own lane, handle your business, and take care of yourself. Then you at least show up with an open mind and an open heart, willing to have a relationship, as opposed to not doing the work. And then when these things come up, like you said, they cut bait and run, because they don't know any other way to do it.
Right.
And it's a core issue. It's a fear. It's something that's been programmed into you, whether that was your parents, your whatever, something programmed, whatever. I think everything comes out of fear. And then as a result of the fear, then comes the shame.
Okay. You're just talking about bad things. Because I've heard it's fear or love. You're either choosing fear or love. Which one are you going to choose?
Yeah.
So if you're, but
if you're living in fear, you're going to be less, you're going to be more hesitant going into things, because you're coming from a fear-based place, not a love-based place.
Right.
And then from the fear, you feel shame around your hangups. And once that shame comes in, it's like a lead blanket, and you can't even move. Sometimes you can't even leave your house, because it will overwhelm you to the point of stifling you, and then it cripples you. That's my word. It cripples me. Some things literally cripple me, where I can't even leave the house. But then I know I got to do work on that, because that's my stuff. That, and then we tend to, in relationships, want to blame the other person. Well, it's because you did this, or you said it. No, it's not. It's your shit. Handle your business. And hopefully you could get through it, and hopefully you can get through it together. But my point is, if we try to do the work on ourselves and we show up, at least you're showing up and you're willing. Without being willing, what else? What is there, right? If you're not willing to at least try, willing to take a look at yourself, or take a look at maybe the other side of the coin, maybe it could be this. Did you think about this? Did you? And that's another thing. Like, how beautiful is it to be with someone who can hold you accountable? And then you can step back, and your feelings might get hurt when somebody holds you accountable. But if you love this person, you're not going to go into that place of fear and shame. You might for a little bit, but then you're going to say, "Oh, there he is.
That's the guest star.
There's the guest star. This is Nachelato."
And if you're just listening to this podcast, we also have it on video, and the cat just joined us. One of the two cats.
One of the two boys.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, that is, you talk about that one obliterated me, and as a result of that, has really kind of crippled me for relationships. I've had a difficult time prior to that, but that was the first one that I thought to myself, wow, like, I've never been in love this way, like really head over heels about somebody, and thought that it could be something, but it was an illusion. It was my fantasy. It was my fantasy of what I wanted in her and what I wanted in a relationship, but it wasn't equal,
Yeah.
And again, there's looking at your own part. When I looked at that and said, wow, she never really was in this. She was in it for me to renovate her house.
Deed on the house.
And for the deed on my house. And a friend of mine said, "You dodged a bullet." I go, "Oh,
I think so too."
I go, "Au contraire, mon frere. I dodged a cannon."
Oh, yeah. See? Oh, this is a perfect time to end.
Yeah.
And we're at 24 minutes. So
Nice.
yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, you dodged cannonball.
Absolutely.
All
But
right.
hey, you live and learn. I hope to God it made me stronger. And I think it did.
I think it did.
And it made me take a look at myself a lot deeper.
And you actually had a really good relationship after that. So you said, yeah, because you had one that was, because you said, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not the last one you've had.
No. And yeah. And I'm in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you've been by yourself like I have for the last few years. 4 years, I think it was. Oh God. Don't even.
Well, after her, I didn't date for, more than probably 10 years. I mean,
No, I think it was more than 10 years ago because I met you in 2008 or something and you were talking about her.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was over then.
Oh, right. So,
Yeah.
well, again, let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
For right now. But
thanks for sharing that story with me.
Yeah.
And with the world.
No, that was a good one. Though.
I think it's a good one.
I think that was brilliant. I don't want to say you caught me off guard, but you did.
Well, that's what I was intending.
And it made for a good moment. So look, life is about being authentic, and
yes,
you got to talk about uncomfortable things, but that's how you heal when you get it out, is when you talk about it and you reason things out with someone.
It's how you heal, and it's also how other people heal, because other people have gone through this stuff and they're listening to it, and they get to hear a man like you actually connecting with his emotions, having tried to do the thing and doing all this stuff and sharing it. And that's phenomenal. Because a lot of people have been talking about the toxic masculinity. I have to be this guy, is this thing. And you could easily look at you who's all buffed and does this health stuff or whatever and think, guy's like, It's like, no, this guy has a heart of gold and is just, there it is. And not just over that story. I mean,
and now it's literally on the table.
And now it's on the table. It's literally on the table.
But hey, now, I mean, that's what it's all about.
I think that's what it's all about. I think that's
exactly.
The most times I've really connected with people is when I was the most honest and most.
No, I agree.
Whether it's me being goofy honest or when it's me being heartbroken honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right on.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Take care.
Yeah. Follow us on the socials. Do all the stuff.